Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Mind Over Money, a show where we talk about ways how meditation, yoga, and behavioral science can help you become a better and more efficient trader, investor, as well as a better human being. Well, my name is Janand, and today we have with us a very special guest, Anil Rego, who is the founder and fund manager at Right Horizons. He is an investor for more than 3 decades now. Welcome to the show, Anil.
Thank you, Kshitij. I look forward to it. You're making life interesting for us and moving away from the normal topics that we have.
Absolutely. Well, Anil, we'll not talk about portfolio or the fund performance or stock, but we'll be talking about the mental fitness. Now, you have over 3 decades of experience in business planning, corporate finance, as well as mergers and acquisitions. So, how do you keep yourself calm? And what is your mantra? Now, why I say that is because these are all high pressure jobs that you've been in, for the past 30 years or so.
Yes, I think first of all, before we look at how do we keep ourselves calm, I think one important aspect is to, look at how do you switch off, right? Because at many times, things at work, and especially as an entrepreneur, you have a lot of ups and downs, and those may be very disturbing at certain points of time. So I think the first thing is how do you shut yourself off, right? And I think one customer gave me a good perspective, which I try to follow, and he said, "You tell me what is the worst thing that can happen." Okay. That is when I was asking him the same question, saying that, how do you stay so calm? Right? So he said, there's only so much. And if you think about it, you'll say, okay, I mean, actually, there's nothing much. So why not we just go ahead, right? So I think that's the first one is how do you, keep your mind calm and maybe away from some of the events and not let it impact, all other facets of your life, even if things are sort of not going, well. The second is, about how do you also start looking at other means and mechanisms, right? To see, I've used meditation as an example. And actually, when did I start meditation? I started it when I was losing temper with, a couple of people who were important to me on a regular basis. And I said, okay, now I need to do something. Then I stepped back and I researched a little bit and I said, yes, it looks like this is the right way to sort of go about it. So I think that is where I started meditation and it became a part of my life. And if you do it well, then you also it becomes a motivator for you, as well as setting a sort of a roadmap for yourself.
No, absolutely. In fact, the time that, or we spent years knowing you, and whatever time that I've spent knowing you, I know that you're a very calm person, and your voice has that kind of soothing effect or relaxation. I think it can calm anyone down. So yeah, all credit goes to you. You sort of mastered that art. Anil. And let me go on to the next question. You manage, sort of a 600 crores in terms of AUM. So how do you deal with the volatility?
No, so actually, one of the least tense areas for me is actually on markets. Okay, because somewhere I've always been a contrarian investor, and I've trained myself to be that because I also believe that when you detach yourself from emotions, right, you can make better decisions and you can manage your investments and stocks better, right? So, and that has been really helpful. And so, actually, what happens is when I see a large market down and people are very tense, actually, I am saying, yeah, okay, let me see where I have opportunities, right? And I always see market falls as opportunities to actually come back and invest and get that little bit of additional return, to squeeze out some return from the market. Okay, as at the same time, I think while markets are doing very well, I start looking the other way and say, okay, now yeah, we're doing very well. No need to be really overjoyed, even if your portfolios are performing or whatever. right? So now you will see the other side of it. So how do you start looking for maybe the turning points, and again maybe taking some money out, de-risking, and that also proactively it ensures that because you've taken actions in advance, right? So when the fall happens, and you may have money for it, and you're probably sort of better off. So I think that's something that I would sort of encourage all investors also to do. How do you keep your emotions away from markets, because that's where most of the mistakes happen.
Right. No, very well said, Anil. And yoga and meditation are great tools to manage stress. But at the same time, do you also play any sports? Are you interested in that? And is there a specific routine you follow? It could be daily, weekly, or monthly to make it more effective.
Yeah. So once I started meditation, I tried to make it a habit, because what I've seen is, if you try to say, okay, I'll do once in 2 days, once a week, all of those don't happen. Right? So you need to integrate it into your schedule.
True.
So and at the same time, I also know if I try and set some very large, okay, I will do meditation for half an hour, 1 hour, etc., that won't work. So I try to do yoga in the mornings when I get up, say maybe for about 15 minutes, and that sort of helps. Of course, we also go for a walk as well, and that while walking we also chat. So there's interesting conversations that happen over the walk, right? And at night I spend about 10 minutes for my sort of meditation. In between, recently my son started wanting to play badminton. Okay, so I said, okay, let's go and join him, because rather than just go drop them, I said, let's go and play with them, right? So that sort of took off, and now, I mean, we just had a bit of a small competition within Right Horizons team, and today I'm sitting and playing with 20 and 30-year-olds, and also giving them a good contest, right? So I think it's about how you also take up something, enjoy it, and do it, rather than making it something like a boring ritual. Oh, I have to do this today as well, right? So and the walking, for example, along with other people, the others pull you up. Right. You'll get your tinkle saying that it's 6:15, yeah, come, you start walking.
No, absolutely. In fact, being mentally and physically fit, that's the key mantra for success. And, Anil, you display it in your life on a regular basis. So kudos to you on that. Now, finally, any key learning from the last probably marathon walk that you have done? Any learnings for investors?
Yeah, in fact, the marathon walk itself, it was a walk for Oxfam. It was for a social cause, and it was along with that there's a fundraising. Yes. And you won't believe, before that I was not exercising, I was not walking. So and I said, okay, I took up this whole thing of walking 100 kilometers, right? And so that was a big challenge. But what that did for me is, one is I started doing that, and then I followed up ensuring that on a daily basis I continue to walk. Now, what are the learnings that I think, because the Oxfam walk is a walk with people, right? So so the first thing that comes to mind is, where there's a will, there's a way. True. Right? So from 0 to say 100, and what that meant is, we had to also practice and build it up. But like I said, the first, once you set your sights on something, so even for investors, if you're planning for your goal, if you're even wanting to get into investing or becoming a better investor, right? So that's something that is, I think, a very important thing to do. Set your goal, and I think that's 50% of it. The second part of it is about, I think, practice and build up. Okay, so we started off and slowly, then we started moving up 10 kilometers, 15 kilometers. I think in the last few days, we had to hit a 40 kilometers a day, right? So maybe the last 1 or 2 days. So that is something, because I mean, we had to do 100 kilometers in 2 days, right? And so that's the second part of it. And I think what investors can sort of learn from it is, about it's all about discipline. It's all about practice. If you want to become a better investor, there's a whole lot of information which is available. Pay some additional attention to your personal finance. Review it on a regular basis. I think that's something which investors can sort of learn from that. Company matters. I think like I said, even for our morning walks, and even the
Yes.
Oxfam walk was 4 people. Okay, so the learning for investors can be either maybe work with an advisor whom you can bounce off ideas with, okay, or even if you don't and you're a good investor to do it on your own, okay, then have a friend circle who are interested in it and exchange notes. Okay, of course you have to be careful that it's not the rumor mill type of people
Yes.
whom you sort of work with, because that may just do more damage than good. But people who do a little bit of research, understand, and have been in it for some time with some experience, I think that is something that one can sort of work with. And the last will be probably, there's a whole lot of difference between sort of real life and practice. We thought, okay, we did 40 kilometers, but when we went there, I mean, the scorching sun, we had never practiced in the afternoon, right? There, we had to walk between, 12 to 3 o'clock, and that was the extreme heat, number one. Secondly, the terrain. We happily walked around, Bangalore. We thought the roads are not so good, but there we are walking up a really little bit of hilly terrain, etc. So the difficulty levels were also sort of higher.
Right.
So I'm saying for investors, again, it's a question of, it seems easy. Okay, it's a simple thing that you may think, okay, buy low, sell high, right? But it's exactly the opposite. It's much more difficult because markets tempt you to do the opposite, right? When probably it's a time to sell, you'll feel like buying because all the news is very positive, and vice versa. So I think it's about being aware that there's a whole lot of difference between sometimes theory and practice. So you have to gain the experience only when you have seen a sort of a negative in the market and gone through that negative cycle and come out of it well. Okay, is when I think you've learned your bit.
No, absolutely. Well, on that note, thank you so much for your time, Anil. And that's all for now, folks. But do stay logged on to ET Markets Live for more on news, business, and economy. Again, thank you so much for your time, sir.
Thank you, Satish. It's a pleasure.